Hey everybody, I'm John Siskovich and I wanted to take you on a Linger Grazing tour of my brewery today. We're going to go inside, look at the tank, see my new canning line, and just give you a peek inside the building that I photograph a lot from the outside. So we're going to go inside right now and see how agriculture is turned into cerveza. We're going to look at the manufacturing process a little bit and show you where we can happiness. So heading into the brewery, we're gonna get a quality hand-on doorknob shot. Oh yeah. Leave the dog outside for now. Welcome to Kent Falls Brewery. Right here we have our cold room, where I have a hole in the floor currently that I'm going to patch. This is our hop inventory. And breweries that have visited us have left some stickers. These are all labels from our beer throughout the years. We've had some good ones. Hey look, that's me. Glitter rainbow. Anyways, so walking around the brewery, we're going to talk about how beer is made. Now we know that everything we eat and drink comes from a farmer on Farm Marketing Solutions. Now I had to pause while I stepped over my barrier. You guys are getting a behind the scenes tour today. Every single little piece of equipment in here has a specific purpose and use. There's no extra stuff. And then when you look at the sheer amount of things that are going on right now, it can boggle the mind. So starting in here, the farmer grows barley. And barley seed is just a seed that we have decided is useful and tasty. Here's an open bag. And that is our malt. That's the beginning. That seed goes to a malt house, like Thrall Family Malt or Valley Malt. And what they do is they wet the seed down, warm the seed up, and it starts to germinate and turns the stored starches into carbohydrates. Then they toast it. The degree at which they toast it gives us the color of our beer. And then they send it over to us. We get these bags, we put them in there, they go get cracked in the mill and go up this pipe with an auger in it into our brew house, which is this set of madness right here. And that cracked grain, which is full of these freely available carbohydrates, gets mixed with hot water, and you're essentially making a large batch of oatmeal. Now that water, depending on the temperature of the water and the type of grain, is going to extract different qualities and sugars and flavors from those grains and make sugar water. That sugar water gets chilled through a plate chiller after it's been boiled and cooked and stuff, and goes through these hoses into these fermentation tanks. You guys are getting the briefest of overviews for the brewing process. Goes into these fermentation tanks. That sugar water, we introduce yeast, and then the yeast goes to work. It's the hardest working group of employees that we have on the farm. They eat the sugar that's in that wort or young beer, and they poop out alcohol and they fart out CO2 so that we can enjoy our glasses of poops and farts a little later on in the process. Once the beer has finished fermenting, it can go into a bright tank, which is the more R2D2-like tank for further conditioning. We can make beer and put it in the Grundies and mix it with fruit or other spices to make specialty beers on smaller batches. Or we go out into the new edition, which you guys haven't seen yet. Oh, it's nice and quiet in here. This is our new canning line. The journey of the can starts here. All these open cans. See that? Boom. Goes up the elevator. Gets pushed out onto a conveyor belt. Gets flipped upside down. Washed out. Flipped upside down again. continues along the conveyor belt, gets filled with CO2 here, gets filled with beer here, gets a cap dropped on it from this. This is full of beer tops. They drop down onto that can. The top gets sealed. It gets weighed for quality control. If it's out of weight, which means it's out of spec, it comes over here into the discard pile. Otherwise, it continues down the conveyor belt, gets washed off. A label spins on it through this thing, and it goes onto this rotating table, which is usually right here, and then stacked on a pallet and sent out to people all over the great state of Connecticut. So what does any of this have to do with Farm Marketing Solutions? We're on the Farm Marketing Solutions channel, and I just did a really sloppy cell phone brewery tour where I talked about how to make beer. Aside from this being a major part of my life and making a lot of my decisions for me here in the brewing, it's just really incredible to see it all in the background there. Aside from this running a big part of my life, it really influences my farm. And not only that, it influences the farms of other people that I know, because we're the only brewery in the Northeast that I know of that can make the claim, rightly so, that every single piece of grain that goes into any beer that we make is sourced from Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New York, about a 50-mile radius, all from Thrall Family Malt and Valley Malt in Hadley, Massachusetts. That's pretty much where we get everything. And that's amazing. And with Farm Marketing Solutions, when you're marketing your farm, you have to tell the story of the things that you do if you do them for a good reason. For us, we have 100% of our grain sourced locally because it tastes better and we want to support local agriculture. That's something we believe in, not just having a farm here on the farm, but instead of buying grain from all over the country where it might be a little less expensive, but a little bit more bland, we're going for the highly specialized, specifically chosen grain that's grown in the Northeast by people that we know, and we have to tell that story to our customers because we pass on the cost of the grain onto our beer as well. So if they don't know that the value is there from the grain and the choice that we have made, they won't be a consumer of ours. Less likely. They may just like it because it tastes good, because beer is just happiness in a can, right? I gotta go outside because it's so loud in there, it's really distracting. As we try to broaden our reach and stand out as a brewery, not just because our beer is tasty, but because it carries a further mission with it, I've been working on developing that marketing mission and telling that story, which is something you will be doing with your business as well. Highlight the specialty things that you're doing: raising birds on grass, raising pigs in the woods, raising cows out on pasture and rotating them, having bees and planting pollinator gardens, growing your vegetables in an organic, regenerative, sustainable manner. These are the stories that are going to set us apart. If you share visuals and photographs like I've been talking about these past couple weeks as you've been shooting them with your Linger grazing, we are doing our best to tell the story of our brewery on our social media channels and email list. And the farm is a big part of that. And I got a big fall festival coming up. And now I'm just rambling on because I don't know how to end this video. It was just a simple brewery tour video. It doesn't have to be epic, John. So we're going to end there. Thank you guys for coming out. And until next time, I will see you out in the field.